Hello again. It's been a while. I'm sorry. And if you're new here and you're hearing me say hello again, I used to do videos, but I wasn't super on top of my game. I've deleted all of my videos, and why did I do that? Honestly, I don't know. I wanted a fresh start, actually. Papa's abandoned you. Papa's sorry. Papa More Movie. Just a few weeks ago, I'm talking months ago, I made the Going Merry from One Piece. I made it for my SH Figuarts figures, and I just did it for fun, really. It wasn't anything that I wanted to record. I just was bored, and I thought, hey, I have a big One Piece display. What would be cooler than building a display to fit that big display? And I just thought, the Going Merry is perfect. I'm gonna make a full-size version. Didn't think to record it, didn't think to do anything, and I did this right when Season 2 came out of the live-action show. It would have been perfect to make a video. It would have probably got tons of views. Did I think that? No, because I'm stupid. But it's okay to be stupid. The best characters that everybody loves are stupid. Patrick, Bob, tons of other ones, but I'm rambling. Just the other day, I had a suggestion come on my desk. To build the district from Attack on Titan, the
Shiganshina District.
Shiganshina District. I promise I've watched Attack on Titan. I swear. And I thought that was a great suggestion. I thought that would be awesome to build. I love building dioramas that are way too big and I don't have enough space to store them. So, I did. And that's what this video is about. We're gonna start watching that right now. And, yeah. I'll be making the diorama to fit these amazing Yamaguchi Attack on Titan figures, starting off with Eren. The detail is absolutely incredible. Annie in her iconic pose. She looks so tough. Reiner looking cool as always. I love the detail on these things. They're actually really, really cool. Jokes aside. And my big boy, Zeke. Look at him. Shh. Papa's got you. But yeah. These are great. I love these figures, and I can't wait to see them in the diorama, and I can't wait for you guys to see them. I got inspiration from the Attack on Titan video game. Actually pretty cool. I bought it specifically to look at the map and figure out the scaling and all that stuff, and look at the ground, the buildings, the wall, and see how things would look, and use that to the best of my knowledge to build the diorama around it. Using regular paper, I made some stencils to help me figure out the shapes and stuff. I traced them out onto foam, and I used my hot wire cutter to cut them out. I ended up switching from that because it was a little too slow for my liking, and I switched to a Hami knife and just broke them apart. Next, I used my hot wire table at a 45-degree angle to square off the edges so that when I put all the pieces together, it would reach a 90-degree angle and make a square. And then I cut the pieces in half because if you look closely at the buildings, the bottom level is a little more indented than the top level. And once I was done cutting everything out, I started to glue everything back together to start building up the main structure of the building. Certain walls did need extra pieces cut out, so I did that off camera and added them on to add some extra layer of detail and give the walls a little bit more variety. Oh, what you see me doing here is making some of the wooden logs, planks, just the outer detailing. I'm sure there's a word for it with these types of buildings, what those wooden accents are called, but this script is off the top of my head if you can't tell, and I'm not smart enough to know that. I will like to say, this took me absolutely forever. It was grueling. It took hours to do that. But you guys get to see it in a split second. It took me weeks. And here I am gluing all the pieces together to make that 90-degree angle. It looks awesome. We just need an interior for this, so here we go. Perfect. I love it. And once that was done, I added a little bit more detail onto the buildings. And then, just to add some life and detailing, I cut in some bricks, and then using some smaller sheets of foam, I put it on top to give the illusion of the buildings wearing down and seeing the underlying bricks underneath. Added some scuff marks here and there to just give it some more life, like I said before. add that detail, make it look more lived in, more dirty. I do know in the future, I want to remake these buildings. I want to do them in a way that they're more destroyed, add more destruction to the diorama, because when I think of Attack on Titan, I think of the Titans just brawling in the streets, destroying everything. And these houses were just a little too pristine for my liking once I was completely done. You'll see that later on the third episode. But yeah, more destruction, more, there's these like wooden planks in the front, carriages, horses, maybe some miniature people would be awesome, or like wooden crates, stuff just to scatter around, make it look more lived in, more chaotic, and add some rubble too, I think. Here I am painting the roof, and you'll see that I didn't like it. I hated it. It was way too thick. It didn't match the scaling at all. It was just too... I didn't like it. And if I don't like something, I need to start over. So I tore it off. This hurt. This hurt a lot. That was a lot of math, a lot of angles figuring out. And to just tear it off sucked, but it had to be done for the greater good. Now that the roof is off, I took this opportunity to weather the walls. I mixed up some brown and black paint with some water to add in some grime, some dirt, make it look a little bit more lived in, a little bit more dirty. And then once that was done, I took a paper towel and dabbed off all the excess. Here's the before and after. Here I am adding the roof. I used, I believe it's called ABS plastic. I got the sheets off of Amazon. They're pretty cheap. They're super strong and durable. They're made out of plastic, so that's cool. And then here I am using corrugated craft paper for the roof to get that texture of shingles. If I were to do this again, I think I would cut them into little strips and then overlay them on top of each other to add that like shingle look. So that's a cool idea for the future. Now I'm using some Mod Podge to just seal up the roof. Since it is paper, if I add the paint, it's gonna get all warped and gross. So I used a red wine, almost like a burgundy color, to paint the roof. And then I added some of that wash from earlier back onto the roof to add in some grime, make it match the building itself. And then after that, I started working on the detailing of the building. I used a brown paint marker. I'm not sure the brand at the moment. I'll probably put it up on screen. This worked a lot. This was the most fun part. Even though it took really, really long, I enjoyed it. If I were to use a paintbrush, it would have been super tedious and really hard to get there and do it as accurately as the marker was doing it, as you can see right now. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. But that's done. And now finally we can move on to the dry brushing to lock in all those details and get really all the raised edges highlighted with a lighter tone of brown. And that's it. There's all the buildings done. Now we're gonna move on to the wall, which I'm super excited for you guys to see, but we're gonna have to wait. I'm still editing that video, so I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, and bye.